So starting right off, this is day one out of a 2-year project that Jake and I shot. This is a narrative documentary, and we were responsible for the cinematic recreations of a documentary that was already filmed. So we came in with our reds, anamorphic lenses, and we're kind of cinematically recreating certain moments from, the documentary that was being told. So yeah, this raw BTS is going to function very similar to other raw BTSs if you've already seen them. And don't worry, if this is the first one you're watching, the format is very similar to a lot of the other ones in this section of the course. I'm going to be narrating certain parts on the screen. There will also be moments where graphics such as this one pop up, and also moments where I actually don't talk, and some of the conversations being had on set are kind of in the foreground where you can kind of hear what's being discussed and whatnot. So day one, pretty straightforward. This was actually a half day. This was when Jake and I flew into Washington, and mind you, already half the day was kind of eaten with that travel time. So we had a half day. We started with some car mount stuff, which you kind of saw previously, and now we're kind of lighting and setting up for a nighttime sequence. Funny enough, this is up in Washington, so this is like still 10 p.m. and it's like blue hour. It was actually like one of the coolest things as a cinematographer. You're always kind of fighting light. So just wanted to comment on that. Like, no joke, like this right now, this conversation was happening at like 9:30, 10:30 at night. But now it's actually nighttime. So yeah, headlamps are out. We're kind of just, dialing in the follow focus, dialing in the gear. And yeah, this scene, kind of involved, this was a big setup to do for night one, because this was also a crew that Jake and I had never worked with. We kind of like were going in blind, and mind you, by the end of it, we ended up getting very close with a lot of the people we worked with, incredibly hardworking people. But yeah, that is always kind of the tricky thing when you do a travel shoot. You're kind of going in, like some of this Ronin, for instance, this was gear we just kind of rented. Like, there was just a lot of stuff that, if everything's not kind of prepped in a right way, it could have definitely been a disaster. Fortunately for us, we had a great crew, great actors, great team. So just kind of a word of the wise, if you're doing a travel shoot, definitely try to have some stuff in row, because there's nothing worse than arriving in a new city with people you've never met and having issues with gear or having issues with just anything, But yeah, kind of jumping back into, I guess, this scene specifically, we're lighting for a night exterior. As that graphic previously mentioned, we're using a 1.2K HMI, and that 1.2K is just sort of lighting up the whole sort of like beach for this, arrival scene where our main actor's kind of just landed in the river and he's kind of crawling ashore. And, I'm going to kind of let the audio and conversations kind of pop back in, but just kind of want to intro the scene for the most part.
Just on flat ground. Go. Call it when you're ready. Action. Are we recording? Good? Yeah. All right, and action. All right, cut. Cut. That was great.
You want to try one?
Action! Camera's on, monitor's working.
Yep.
Okay, ready?
Do we have another weight here?
I can take that next week.
Yeah. I might, can I get on standby for handling the weight? Yeah, we've got 15. Let's just try 10. Okay.
And then we're gonna boom up.
So I had a lot of people actually ask about what this thing was when we were initially shooting this project back in 2020. And this is essentially, as the graphic mentions, a pro-aim scissor arm crane. And it basically achieves what a crane normally does, which it can boom up and down. You can give you shots that start, 15 feet off the ground and boom all the way down to the floor, But what's really cool about this crane specifically is it has the ability to telescope. Telescope means it can contract or expand, which allows you to actually do a push-in or a pull-out depending on what you're doing. So yeah, this was great. We put the Ronin 2, on the end of this Pro-Aim X jib, and essentially we're able to use a remote head. So from a joystick from the Ronin, we were able to pan and tilt the camera while being able to boom up and down on the jib or crane. Jib and crane are just kind of the same name for the same piece of gear. So if you hear me say jib or crane, it's essentially that piece of gear you just saw. But yeah, with the Ronin and the X crane, we were able to get some really dynamic moves. So that was kind of in our arsenal. We did a lot of handheld, we did a lot of Steadicam, and the Pro-Aim X jib was kind of also in the mix for establishing shots, wide shots, which definitely do give your project a bigger scope and feeling. And I'll touch on it later, but you definitely want to carve out enough time to set up these sort of pieces of gear. Mind you, we had crew kind of working on that in the background while we shot other shots. But if you are planning on using a crane or a jib, and maybe you didn't hire a crane or a jib op, you're just kind of setting it up yourself, it does take a while. I think that thing took like an hour or two to set up. But yeah, I'm going to let the kind of audio pop back in. This is our next sequence. We're kind of shooting another night exterior shot out on this sort of abandoned road. So as this graphic kind of denotes, we were using a technique called poor man's process. And poor man's process basically is using lighting tricks by panning off and on a light, having the lighting sort of fluctuate through flicker or pulses. It kind of simulates as if you're going by a traffic light or a neon sign or whatever might be out there in a nighttime scene, So this was a great way to get driving shots with the car or truck being fully stationary. And it allows you to get cleaner audio and stuff too. So this is a great technique if you have some creative ideas to simulate lighting. The poor man's process was great. The truck was stationary. The actors could focus on the scene and the dialogue. And we just panned off Asteras to essentially simulate a driving truck scene. But yeah, moving on, this is our next day, day 2. Right now we have our sound, wiring up the talent, we have our makeup artist. You can kind of what's cool about these raw BTS is you can kind of peel back the curtain and see just all the different departments working together in tandem to bring you the final image that you see on the monitor. From makeup, sound, myself as a Steadicam operator, Jake as the DP, the director. There's an army, and sometimes when you see some of these shots, you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty simple. I don't see that much lighting gear, but there's always so much happening just beyond what you see in the frame. So just kind of, it's just kind of a testament that it really does take an army to make some of these larger productions. But, don't let that be a deterrent. If you're just like a one-man band and you're watching this, don't let this discourage you by any means. This is just what we had access to, and to some, this may actually look like a pretty small crew. And to others, this may look like a huge production. So depending on where you are on your journey as a filmmaker, this is just supposed to kind of illuminate some of the tools we were using. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this probably could be done if it was just you as a director DP with a camera, just different results would be yielded. But yeah, anyways, this is, we're shooting at a vintage bowling alley. Sometimes when you see the camera upside down in some of this BTS on the Steadicam, you invert the image and it actually allows you to get the camera lower. So as that graphic denotes, this is called low mode. So sometimes people are like, oh, well, why is the camera upside down? Just by inverting the camera, you can get a low mode shot.
Back in the depths of the bowling alley, this kind of like, I guess, I don't know, what would you call it, drug deal is going down, if you will. But yeah, for lighting purposes, we took out the fluorescents that are in the back, just because those have like a nasty green tint to them, and we replaced them with some Astera tubes. It's just a much cleaner look. You don't get that nasty green tint. So that's kind of what's going on lighting-wise back there. But yeah, it's looking good. I mean, it's just gonna be a slow pushing, basically. Stay on the Jesus-looking man the whole time.
Roll camera. Sound speed already correct? Sorry, sound speed.
We're good.
Rolling.
Are you ready?
Hold on.
Camera speed.
Now we're rolling.
Camera speed. And slate. C2, Delta, take 1, mark.
I know it's not, but we'll probably be fine.
Am I gonna walk in this way?
Yeah, we're good.
When do I land in frame?
Right there.
Oh, okay.
And we're good seeing that too, right?
Yeah, we might want to tuck it just a slight bit. I mean, it sells that there.
Yeah. And action!
Knock, knock. Christmas came early. Ooh, this is the shit Cash is using? These are no black beauties, my friend. Oh, this is crisscross. This stuff. Oh, yeah. It's like the first dawn winter. What a beaut. Care to ski the slopes, my friend? Put it back in. No. This is crisscross. This shit. It's like the first snow in winter. What a beaut. Care to ski the slopes, my friend?
The eyes a little more wide open when he looks at it.
And cut. That was amazing, guys.
That was dope.
I'd
Tom,
like to
only note,
definitely run that
maybe
one more time.
even slow it down a little bit more. So
Cool.
All right, and slate. C2, Delta, take 2, mark.
And then Chris, I don't know if last time you raised up the baggie really high, but maybe try to cut it by like 25%.
Okay.
All right.
yeah, nice and slow, Tom.
Copy.
Frame set.
Hold for set.
1 sec. Frame.
Focus that.
Call it TJ.
And action.
Knock, knock. Christmas came early. Ooh, is that shit Cash is using? This is no. Jump back up there.
Yeah, just from the jump. Reset it. Just still rolling. Tom, that's perfect, Tom.
Thank you. 3. Okay, ready.
Set.
Camera set.
Set.
All right, and action.
Knock, knock. Christmas came early. Oh, is that the shit Cash is using? These are no black beauties, my friend. No, this is crisscross. My brother, it will move. Oh, it's like the first snow in winter. Oh, what a beaut. Care to ski the slopes, my friend?
Yeah, see, that
Care to ski the slopes, my friend?
he messed up the line right there.
Back to 1. Keep
Yo,
rolling.
pretty good.
The beginning, not the
Yeah.
whole thing, just the beginning of Christmas came early. That line getting
Yeah,
out of
yeah. So I think we do need to reverse.
Knock, knock. Christmas came early, my friend.
Ooh, that shit the Cash is using?
These are no black beauties. No, this is crisscross. This stuff, my friend, will sell.
Oh, it's like the first snow in winter.
You said it right.
Beaut.
That'll knock the pins down.
care to ski the slopes, my
All that.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe never mind. We'll stay on the 40 for now.
We can always have can B on the 65 out ready.
Yeah, maybe for like some things.
Would like I do love the idea of having this in the back, so I would love to get a reverse of them too if they're both.
So yeah, I mean,
you
we
almost
can-
just do a 360?
I mean, yeah, I think cinematically, like this is gonna look, you see the pins, you have some leading lights, the lights coming in from the back, it's gonna look really good. And then if you wanted to get just like a reverse to where you clear this out,
Yep.
you could see both their faces here
And just-
talking and
yeah.
see that whole frame right there.
Okay.
And all could just start here and end there. And it's just like almost like a curve track.
Oh, we could do that too.
All right. So all
It could
hands,
just be one.
all
So-
hands on deck.
Yeah, we need to clear like.
Good.
We have quiet on set, please.
Quiet on set.
Get you in here.
Frank, focus that. See boom shadow. Yeah, cool. Ready?
Boom shadow.
You see it right here?
How would crisscross this all across the county?
Tic-tac-toe across the states. We go. But we gotta be smooth with this, buddy. I have never let you down. You've never let me down, buddy.
It's because that could be easily fixed by just clocking his shoulders a little to camera, and then you lose all this like modern stuff. I was just
Well, I just didn't think that was modern right there. We can take down those flyers. I just thought that was period. The martini glass and the Cadillac.
So, hey, so I know he said he's pushing in this way.
No, we're gonna go around this way and be right here. So we're gonna go straight. We gotta see the frame though first, because I guess if we see,
Yeah, well, can I, action rehearsal, I'll frame it up and we can all just sort of like see what it looks like.
Yep.
What? And let's do a. This is gonna be pretty slow. It's a long convo.
That's
Let's
right.
record.
Rolling.
You're good.
Camera's going.
Well, I get the slip, there you go.
Yeah, I don't need to smoke it.
Scene 24, take one. Oh, there's Mark.
Cool. Set.
So yeah, as that graphic kind of mentioned earlier in this raw BTS, this is called the Cloud Mount, made by a manufacturer called Rig Wheels. This was something we had rented. I have actually personally never used it prior to this shoot. So initially I was kind of skeptical because it's literally just using magnets. So, act of God, if you hit a bump or a pothole, who's to say those magnets won't just like deploy off the car? But yeah, I mean, it really just uses like friction-based cable wire that kind of absorb the vibrations of the cars and the bumps. And yeah, like you can see, we have a fully built-out red on this cloud mount, and it worked really great. It was very fast. You throw the mount on, and we were good to go.
Get out of the car.
Rehearsal. Down first. Up.
If you go up that quick, it's gonna miss the camera.
Got it.
Just a little slower.
Okay,
And then
so
that's sort of
I
like-
get out. Okay, let's get low.
Ready?
Okay,
And
get out,
the pills.
close the door, flick the thing. I grab the pills, I unscrew the pills at an eye level, and I bring them up here.
Yeah.
Can you not go up that quick?
So something you probably will see in a lot of these, BTS breakdowns is that we were not using that much lighting equipment. And that was twofold. A, we didn't have the biggest crew in the world, despite you may be seeing, as I mentioned, like a lot of different people doing different things. We didn't have like a huge lighting team. And mind you, we're shooting in these huge day exteriors, and we were very fortunate to have that kind of Washington overcast where essentially we, had really soft lighting, and a lot of the shots that the director and Jake wanted were these moving tracking shots with the Steadicam. And in doing so, if the shot's moving and seeing the whole world, it is very hard to hide lighting equipment. So we kind of leaned into natural light. Sometimes we even waited for the lighting to be better. If it was bright and sunny, we might wait 10 or 15 minutes for a cloud to roll over. And yeah, that really worked to our advantage because, even if I had $1 million budget, I probably would use huge diffusions to create the look that we're getting naturally just from some cloud coverage or overcast. So something to think about. You definitely don't need to have all the big lights and HMIs. I mean, it does depend on your scene, but if you're shooting a day exterior, maybe wait for the perfect weather or shoot at sunrise for there to be cloud coverage, and you can get, pretty nice, soft, even contrast, nothing too overexposed, and it is very flattering on your actors.
We did a whole short film where it's a 5-minute one take 360 poker scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're just gonna have them do is just riff, and we have the multiple actors here, so we're gonna be good. It's gonna be sick.
Cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So
What, bro?
Yeah, anything you guys need. If we need Starbucks, maybe we can go grab it. Or if we need like anything, I brought hella Red Bulls and stuff. So I got all that ready to go. I'll just get the drinks inside and we'll get it cracking.
Sounds good.
But yeah, what do we got going on today? You talk to this guy right here.
Yeah, whoever wants to.
Shoot, we have
Whoever's up.
We have a lot of stuff going on today. Right now we're getting the X jib set up. We're gonna do some kind of crane establishing shots here. A little Steadicam action. Tom's on Steadicam today. Lighting wise, overcast. We're not gonna do anything outside. We're just gonna play off the overcast. It's always nice for like a nice soft, lighting and look. And then for anything interior wise, we're using Asteras. We're gonna probably gaff tape / mount them to the ceiling in areas, and tons of haze, atmosphere to just like kind of lift the contrast levels, give it a vibe. And then with the haze, we're gonna shoot some like what are they, NAN lights. We only have NAN lights, but some LED NAN lights, push them through the windows, like sun kind of coming through, so the haze really lights up, and we kind of get those shafts, light shafts, rays coming through, and it's gonna be a whole vibe. So it's gonna be tight. You'll see all that stuff. You'll see all this stuff.
Dope.
Go ahead.
You think the junk you think the junk stays or goes?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Love it. Okay.
Free art department.
Loose. All right, down there. Yeah, we were on set one day, and a guy who is new to like just being on set in DIT.
We're at my grandfather's old house. Well, actually, he just moved out a week ago. So this house was built in about 75, so it pulls for it works for the 71 vibes. It's completely empty, so we have tons of great stuff that we're able to do in here. It's just crazy because all of the artwork, the pictures, the blanket on the bed, like all of these things are all things that I grew up seeing at my grandfather's house. So it's just so cool to be able to utilize all this amazing nostalgic stuff that I have just seen my whole life and had vivid memories about. And now I actually get to set them up and create it. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. So yeah, today, day 3.
Real quick, this piece of gear, I got asked a lot when I initially posted this what that is. It kind of looks like a half pipe right underneath the camera. This is a horizon stabilizer, and essentially when it's triggered on, it always keeps the camera level no matter what happens. So yeah, great piece of gear. Ideally made for Steadicam, but it can be used for cranes, handheld, and other uses as well.
Good? You want to try it? Yep.
Yeah, you want to do it? You want to go?
Yep. Jake, what do we have going on here?
A lot of things going on here, but right now, probably most specifically, we're at 4,500 color temp, which is daylight's 56, but we're color temping. We're dropping it to be slightly cooler, so it has a little bit more of a mood, and it balances because we have daylight coming through the window upstairs, and then like a really strong tungsten bulb, so it kind of just like meets that balance right in the middle of 32 and 56, 4,500. Yeah, that's what we got going on here. Tom's about to do his magic, Steadicam all the way up. It's gonna look great.
Are we off script here?
Yes.
What do you want to
Or
call
no,
this?
this is the jump on the bed.
Okay, so
This
jump
way
on.
falls on the bed.
Ronnie flops on the bed. It's scene 23.
What's he stop yet?
2-8.
2-8. I'm gonna do a split actually, probably.
But yeah, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's close that door.
I got nothing on.
How's the haze? Really nothing yet?
He's got nothing.
We got nothing on. Here's power cycle.
Take 1. Mark.
So yeah, as I mentioned before, when we were shooting those day exteriors, you're watching this raw behind the scenes, there is not much lighting equipment here. We intentionally kind of built scenes around existing pools of light. And I say pool just meaning like a section or an area that has light going on. And yeah, I mean, there is even moments where this shot kind of falls off into darkness, but that was a creative and visual choice that we kind of leaned into. And, he's kind of silhouetted right here. So yeah, realistically, yeah, there isn't much lighting happening. I think we did have a light maybe shining through that window outside, and yeah, there's a lamp on, but realistically, we tried to keep it pretty simple. I mean, also to the point, this project had a very ambitious day. We were often going from 2 or 3 locations in one shooting day. So if we were spending 2 or 3 hours overlighting scenes, we just simply wouldn't be able to make our days. So just, as you're watching this, I'll try to stop echoing it, but I'm just trying to show you that really there wasn't a lot of lighting when you're seeing some of these frames. Like a lot of it is just natural lighting and just kind of putting the camera on the shadow side, using the existing lighting that's there. And then like I mentioned, maybe even waiting for the light to just be right. If it's blue hour, sunset, overcast, and knowing that our kind of look of the film was very driven via natural light, we kind of really leaned into that. And sometimes that was darker and moodier, sometimes that was soft and overcast. But yeah, as you watch this, very minimal lighting, if any, and a lot of times just pure natural light.
Roll the other one.
Back up. And action. So you think that if you're right there, you think that should be the frame when he pulls into the house? Or do you want to be in the back seat going over the shoulder?
I'll probably, yeah, this would be.
Okay, so we got to make sure this is clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, TJ,
and then-
do you want me to do all this and then just pull into the driveway?
Yes, I want you to come back this way and pull in this way because you'll be able to turn.
Can I get like a towel for my knees?
Yeah.
Sit around.
Never mind, you got a jacket.
All right, wait, go.
Get out the car! Get out the car!
I'm sure that's what it is.
Does he need to pull out
So
more?
just
So here is that X crane jib. I think when we kind of showed this earlier in the project, it was like nighttime and kind of hard to see. So when it's all contracted up, it actually is pretty compact, which I think is a really cool selling point of this thing. But as I mentioned, these guys that were working on this, which they did an amazing job, they were working on this for like 2 hours. So as we're shooting that Steadicam shot inside and other sequences, you know, we had a whole team just building and balancing this thing out. So just echoing it again, if you do end up getting a piece of gear you've never used before, definitely carve out some time in your day to calibrate and set it up.
20 to 25 setups today, and we added another scene, a poker scene. So right now it's just, we gotta just go. It'll be interesting to see how much we can actually get done today. I hope we can do everything.
Yes, good. Am I good, Brent? Quiet on set. Come to your left. Down. Good.
All right, what are you doing right now, Jacob?
I'm playing some video games, movie video games. Yeah, rolling.
Sound speed?
Good. Camera speed.
I'm working the remote head, which is the Ronin in this case, on the end of the crane. All wirelessly. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I still see the front of his car, but that's fine,
That's
if
fine.
you just cut to that. Yeah.
Okay, and action.
Let's run that one again.
I thought that was great. Yep.
I can't.
I don't. Oh, could you? Is it connected?
It won't.
Sorry. I got it.
Rolling.
Bring it down. There you go. No, the slate. Bring slate up. There you go.
Stop.
Alright, go ahead, mark it. Mark scene 22, take 2, mark.
We know frame set.
Alright, and set.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, and action.
You want me more this way?
Keep looking forward.
Am I just watching this empty TV?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great, bro. What a shot. Cool. So here is the crane, or X jib, being kind of used in its full utility. Right now it's fully contracted out, and during this shot, the crane or jib is able to extend or telescope out, so it's kind of pushing inward. And it can get up to 10 or 15 feet high, so we're like fully over the camera. And then we have the Ronin 2 with a red, I believe, Gemini mounted to the end. So with the joystick, we're tilting around, we can push in and out. So I do feel like having these is a great way to add cinematic production value. I'm sure some of your favorite movies and TV shows are using big pieces of gear like this. I mean, obviously probably a higher end version, but somewhat similar in utility. A crane, a jib, a techno crane, a helicopter. These sort of pieces of gear really do bring your project to another level. And this thing's like 15, 20 feet in the air, and like that's a vantage point that a tripod couldn't get. I mean, it really does kind of bring your project to another level. And, you know, in terms of serving the story, this was kind of helpful to, you know, he's about to go leave, and it was kind of a nice establishing shot for the front of the house. So we, you know, it's tricky because sometimes when you have these fancy pieces of gear, you just use it because you have it, and it is more important to use it because it's pushing your story. And if you can combine that, you know, use a fancy shot, but have it also serve the story, you know, that's really what's going to make your film elevated. But if you're just using a fancy piece of gear because you rented it and you have it, but it's not really pushing or selling or, you know, moving the story forward in any sort of visual way, then it is kind of just like, you know, no slight to Michael Bay, but sometimes his movies have like really slick camera movements, but for like absolutely no reason, just because like, in air quotes, looks cool. So something to keep in mind. I mean, if you have a piece of gear and it can tell a story in a certain way visually, I'd say go for it. Otherwise, sometimes it can kind of be a waste of time and money just for a cool shot that really doesn't, you know, do anything. But yeah, this is a Steadicam shot. I have a spotter. I'm going down some like uneven terrain, and yeah, I mean, this was literally the first take, so sometimes the headroom kind of gets away from me. But yeah, that was kind of the fun thing about this project, is instead of doing a rehearsal, we were just like, let's just shoot one. Let's see what we get. We'll watch the playback. And in doing so, we kind of like worked through the shot by being able to watch the rehearsal. And there was times where we're like, wait, this rehearsal was like perfect. And had we not rolled that, you know, we would have probably missed out. And I know there is certain people like, oh, well, if you're rolling the rehearsal, then that's take one. And I understand that, but there is something kind of rolling a rehearsal, knowing it's kind of low stakes, just like, let's just get what we get. And that was sometimes what we did. We just rolled one, not really having seen the blocking. I kind of did my thing. The actor kind of did his thing. And we were both kind of playing. And in doing so, that was really rewarding because we both kind of found moments that maybe otherwise wouldn't have been discovered.
What's the thing that I've used before that I forget the name? This is like the poor man's version of it, but it works. It's more compact and it honestly works just as good, if not better. Because the other one, like, you need these, it's huge, beefy, all these wheels. So this is like a really good, this is fire combo. Is that cool for you? Like kind of moonlight, kind of like basement vibes. So right now, to emulate moonlight coming through, we have a daylight with LED outside, which is 5600. But to make that 5600 feel cool, you take the color temp all the way down. Right now we're at 2500, and so it's like super cool and blue. And if you were to look at it, it feels like soft moonlight coming through the window. And I do have like a little net in front of the light out there, so it cuts it, so it softens it up a little bit, because moonlight is naturally obviously a little softer, whereas the sun's harder. So having it kind of soft come through looks really good. So go get a shot of what is out there and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yup.
So this is a Nanlite Forza 500. And at the time of this release, because, you know, I mean, years later, maybe this isn't kind of the latest and greatest from this company, but when we were shooting this in 2020, this is like one of the brighter, more affordable LEDs that we could get for this production. There's other companies that make something similar. I know Aperture has like a 600D, but this was very bright. I mean, now being on the inside, showing what that light's doing, it's kind of helping us create like a harsh moonlight. Maybe there's a full moon out, and it's kind of giving like a cooler, kind of noir, hard, you know, lights coming through the Venetian blinds look for our scene. And yeah, I thought it looked great. I mean, I don't think that light is more than like $1,000 or $2,000, which I know to some people maybe sounds like a lot, but for comparison, like companies like Airy or, you know, other manufacturers, sometimes like these LEDs can be like $10,000 or $20,000. So this was a more like budget friendly light to buy or rent. So something to consider. It gave us great results, and it was much more affordable than some of the other name brand LEDs. So yeah, it is a fixed color. I believe it's only 6,000 Kelvin. I could be wrong on that. I've actually personally was not the one manipulating the light, but I do believe it is a daylight source LED. But you can dim it, you know, you can go from 100% to 0%. And yeah, it worked great for mimicking sun. And also, depending on like how we balance the white balance, even though it's still 5600 balanced, we balanced our camera at like 45. So it actually kind of like played as like moonlight. So it worked out really great.
They know what the fuck they're doing. So I don't know, Jake, will you explain this situation here? Because it's kind of cool.
basically we're building a softbox top light here because there's like a poker scene happening. So we got 3 Asteras rigged up there. But then to soften that Astera light, we threw some. Tom, what do we have as the softbox, the actual diffusion? Do you know what we're using exactly?
3 Astera Titan tubes.
No, for the diffusion.
Oh, I think it's China Silk. It cuts about 3 stops of light.
And then little DIY thing, we didn't have any Duvetine to create our fall off, so we ended up running to where'd you go? Someone went to Target and picked up black bed sheet. So if you just take a black bed sheet, cut it up, and create right there skirt, there we go. So create a skirt all the way around, creates fall off. So see how the light right now, because it's right here. Look out real quick. See how much it's hitting this wall? And then look over there. See how it's not hitting that wall. So it just focuses the light. It skirts it, you know what I'm saying? It just skirt right down to the poker table. So
Yes.
I have it on 75. What was it?
Try
Try to only get that much intertwined.
Keep like a
So that way when you
there.
press in, it holds, and that's what gives you.
All right, race 2. You guys have been following those protests in D.C.?
Oh yeah. Shit. Hey, did you guys hear about that? Boys in Blue, they couldn't hold it down. They had to send in the whole fucking U.S. government, landing every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Can you fucking believe it?
Fucking everyone over. Violating everyone's fucking civil rights. I didn't get drafted to serve this country. I didn't lie in the mud, the shit, the Viet Cong blood, to come back and have those fucking suits tell me what I can do, what I can say, and who the fuck I can fuck.
Less government, man. No. See, the problem is you gotta take everything into your own hands, and you gotta do it your way. If they don't play by the rules, then lies should win. And that is why you buy guns. Alright? You do one better. You take their money. I like that.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
We know all about you and Walt Marty's little side venture.
These guys took our money last week. Why work hard when you can get it for free?
And Miller John, you're on the X shift. You're on the X. You're on the X shift. Just stage that somewhere over here. And other than that, I will go through the video 2 times.
What's up, dog?
I think you do it through here, Tom. Instead of going back to there, and you can weave it here because that's a far journey.
Oh yeah, cut through
Do
here.
it, yeah. Do it
But
right through.
yeah, maybe keep the red and then take those 2 and just put them back there.
Yeah, so
Because someone could be posted up on the red one right here. Then these 2 are like pulled back a little, and then you can like kind of come this way.
maybe do we have one turned around and facing this way, and then these 2 could probably just come back and go like this?
No, I think we should all face
that way? Okay, yeah.
'cause it's
And
like that's
on
where
the
the
day,
action
because I know
takes
obviously
place.
all these things, like I've been on shoots where we turn the headlights on for Sean and Harry guys, but it would be cool to have a lot of these things.
Yeah, you turn it off real quick.
Aaron, what are we doing?
We have to water down this for the cars right there, so it's the movie magic. That's what you gotta do right now. So look.
I do the hose thing.
You wanna do it? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. In there. Just wet it like all the way. You see?
Yeah.
From here to here. Okay.
Scene 4, take 1.
You're in the movie, 2 steps back. Okay. And then yeah, go that way. Okay, and quiet all around, even in the background, no sound.
So after he says what's up, you go.
Okay? Action camera! Action tattoo!
What's up, Rodney?
Whoa! Hey, what's up, Brad?
Hey, Rod.
You go, Rodney.
What's up, Rodney?
Look who decides to show his cock to the party. Welcome, baby. Have a good time.
cutting into scenes.
Let's fucking go. It's anonymous.
We're getting it done. We've been fucking fighting this light all day. We thought it was gonna be overcast all day. And then these guys wanted to wait till 7:30, which I was down for, but we got people waiting with their cars and everything, so we gotta kind of be quick. We were gonna go jib down. I wish we could, but I just don't think we have enough time.
What's up, Rod?
Whoa!
It's always the big one.
All right, good. Move to next, or chalk up and cut.
We're on the set of Fast and the Furious 21. We're in the future, 2050.
So one thing that Steadicam or gimbals, you know, if you have a gimbal as well, any sort of like stabilizing device is really useful for is covering scenes. You know, we kind of implored like a David O. Russell, you know, which is a director who really does this a lot. He'll roll a scene and the camera's just kind of always moving, always finding moments. And this was a scene with like 6 or 10, you know, actors with speaking parts. And, you know, if you were to kind of shot list this would be a nightmare. All the different eye lines and 180-degree lines. And, you know, with Steadicam, we were kind of able to just like surf around and kind of approach it more of like a cinema verite where like the camera's just like another character in the scene. It's panning from one character to another. And I was able to, in theory, get like 10 shots per take. If I was on a tripod, it'd be like 1 shot. Like, look, now I'm in an over the shoulder. Like the Steadicam, or if you're watching this and have like a gimbal or stabilizer, does allow you to move very quickly. Mind you, we were very globally lit, so if we had a bunch of lighting gear in the shot, that probably wouldn't allow me to do what I'm doing now. But since we kind of lit this globally to where it looked good, no matter where I place the camera, I'm able to go in, I'm able to get a close-up and over the shoulder, I'm able to spin around and get someone else's coverage. Like I mean, as you can see, the sun is setting, you know, at this very moment. So we were able to shoot this entire sequence in like probably 20 or 30 minutes, where otherwise this would be like 2 or 3 hours of tripod here, okay, we got to bring up the tripod. So very effective. And yeah, as this graphic notes, we basically just got work lights from Home Depot. It's not that we didn't have lights that could light the scene, but we were kind of going for like a seedy underground garage. And I feel like work lights are something that you would find in one of those garages. You know, if you were in an auto shop, you would find kind of like a cheap tungsten, you know, work light. So we just got some from Home Depot, spray painted them black, and just put them in like different parts of the frame. So if the camera caught them in the frame, it kind of looked like it belonged there. Versus if you were to pan and you saw that Forza 500, you'd be like, oh, well, why is that there? That's a film light. So the work lights, A, lit the scene, but also kind of acted as a practical, meaning that if the camera saw them, they belonged there. You know, they were kind of part of the scene. But yeah, just kind of continuing onward. I'm on Steadicam, just picking off a bunch of different coverage. Fun fact, that is a cameo from the director. He is playing one of the characters in the film. So throughout this raw BTS, you'll probably see like snippets of him throughout different scenes. But yeah, we're just kind of fighting that, you know, blue hour, which ended up looking great. I think we do have like a picture-in-picture. If not, I'll definitely put like a clip up. You can see how great that blue, you know, kind of fading blue hour sky looks when it's contrasted against like a warm tungsten key, which we got from those tungsten work lights. So definitely kind of built in some color contrast. Like I said, was lit with like $50 Home Depot lights. And yeah, I feel like the scene turned out pretty good.
Ron, you okay? Whoa! Come on, man. You see this fucking joker? You guys see this fucking guy? Think you're gonna shoot me? Wait, let me fucking light my cigarette before you.
Let me get one thing. Let me get one thing perfectly straight with you clowns. If anyone has any beef with how I do my business or who I am, if anyone has any beef with anyone, if anyone has any beef with how I conduct my business, I will be in my trailer. Sorry, let's do it again. There we go. Let's get one thing straight. If any one of you turkeys has any problem with how I conduct my business, I will be in my trailer. And you can book meetings with me any time of day. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah, we're cool. Yeah, fine. Okay, we're good. Call out on one.
You want one more?
We're good. No, it's insert it in.
Okay. The one that's closer to the ground is already. He's screaming a bit. Fuck. Give me a loud one. Shit! No, a loud. Fuck! Hold one as long as you can. Hold one as long as you can in 3, 2.
And that is a